Now, Stan, thanks for being with us this morning. Starting with the news today that you've begun your phase 1 trial of your COVID-19 vaccine in Australia. Tell us, why Australia?
Well, we've done it there before. We have a history of making vaccines for emerging infectious diseases where it's really important, timing is really important to get it started and then to follow through. And so we've done this with a pandemic influenza strain and Ebola, and actually with another 2 coronaviruses. So this is our 3rd coronavirus vaccine, and it just works. And so what we do is we start early in Australia. They have a very good setup for phase 1 trials. And then we go directly into phase 2 trial in the U.S. and Australia following up on that. So it's a formula that works for us.
And help us understand the timelines a little bit. I think you said you're expecting the preliminary results in July, and then if those are positive, I guess moving into that larger phase 2 study, which you could do in multiple countries. We've been hearing about this coordinated U.S. trial. Will you be a part of that if all goes well with the phase 1?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not clear to anybody what phase 2 and phase 3, the differentiation between those two are going to be. There's lots of different possibilities. Our current goal is to run this trial in 135 subjects, get data in July, look at those data. The data will tell us safety, they'll confirm safety and immunogenicity, assuming that immunogenicity is as we expect it to be from our animal studies. We'll pick a dose and we'll go into a phase 2 study in thousands of people, probably not just in the U.S. and in Australia, but other countries as well. We've got offers to run this phase 2 trials globally, and the goal will be to get into phase 2 trials that are sufficiently large that we can determine whether the vaccine is efficacious in a short period of time, hopefully by sometime during the fall.
And I understand you have about just under $400 million in support from CEPI, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, a very respected public health funding group for vaccine development. Will that be enough to take you through clinical trials and even through some ramp up in manufacturing, or will you need additional funding?
Well, it's designed to do both. It won't take us all the way through, widespread distribution of the vaccine. That's a different funding amount. But this will take us through our phase 1 and 2 clinical trials, and it'll take us through, really importantly, our scale up. And so we did something that not everybody does in parallel. Often you do the ramp up, the expensive manufacturing ramp up subsequent to your phase 1 data. We started early because we knew if we waited until we had phase 1 data, we would lose maybe as much as 4 to 6 months. And that's, in a pandemic, that's huge. And so we started early. We've made product that is now what they call GMP. It's suitable for use in phase 1 and phase 2. And we are now scaling up to much larger scales. And you'll hear about our plans for global production in a relatively short period of time, because we're trying to get, we have an antigen that needs to be, it's a recombinant protein that needs to be scaled up. We have an adjuvant that's scaled up in a different plant that we have in Sweden. And we're expanding all of those avenues so that we can make very large quantities of doses, both this year and our target for next year is quite ambitious, but we think doable, which is to produce over 1 billion doses of vaccine. And we'd like to do it in various continents. We'd like to do it in Europe, in the U.S., perhaps India, and in Asia.